We've got 45 minutes to talk about the European perspective. We're going to take our whole 45 minutes because we expect it to be just as rich as the prior conversation was. And I thought we had two. There she is. Our two speakers in this session begin first with Linda Nielsen. She is Vice President of the European Group on Ethics in Science and New Technologies and Vice President of UNESCO's International Governmental Bioethics Committee. Also Professor of Global Law and Governance at the University of Copenhagen, Denmark, and President of the Danish Cancer Society. She serves as Chairman of the Danish IT Security Council and is a member of the Board of Trustees of the Queen Margaret and Prince Hendrik's Foundation. She has been a member of many commissions, including the Danish Globalization Council, Danish Finance Minister's think tank on future growth. She has been with us throughout our proceedings, and we welcome you to this panel. Linda.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you for the invitation. It's been extremely interesting, and I hope to fit in with what has been already said and try to start a discussion on that. And it's so nice to be here, kindred spirits. I'm in many other aspects sitting where you're sitting now and trying to get some inspiration, so I really hope to fulfill that. What I have chosen to do is to say two things about the European approach, two things about developing countries, and two slides about what do I think I can make use of, how can I inspire you in different ways. Hope to do that. The first thing is that in Europe, we have the European Charter of Fundamental Rights. It's been adopted by most of the 27 EU countries, and it creates somehow the basis of what we're doing, like the UNESCO, like other things. The first one is dignity, respect for physical and mental integrity, free and informed consent, and then a very European speciality, prohibition on making the human body a source of financial gain. Next one is freedoms, liberty, security, and private life, and protection of personal data. Then we have the equality, the non-discrimination principle, respect for cultural and religious diversity, and the one which is crucial for this one, the rights of vulnerable groups, children and the elderly, and you could include other poverty, etc., in that respect. And then solidarity, which is also important for the topics we are dealing with today, access to preventive health care, the right to benefit from medical treatment, which is extremely important for us here, high level of human health protection. And then we have some further about citizens' rights and justice. Many of these can be seen also in the UNESCO declaration, in other kinds of declaration, and I suppose that we share them, the US, the EU, and many other places. Of course, the problem is the balancing. If you're going to prioritize between the freedoms and the dignity, how do you do that then? And that will be part of what we are dealing with here today. The next one is about standards. Which kind of standards do we have in Europe? And this is an overview, so Maurizio will be much more elaborated about what's going on, so just to fill in the framework before discussing. The first, the Helsinki Declaration and the UNESCO Declaration, I'll say nothing about that, you have heard already. The next is the Council of Europe Bioethics Convention. It covers more than the EU, it covers 41 signed European countries, or maybe even a little more today. And it says something about consent, risk assessment, integrity, and privacy, including vulnerable groups. And what they say about vulnerable groups might be an inspiration to you. Then there's the EU Directive on Clinical Trials. It's a minimum directive, which means that you shall have to fulfill it, but you can do more, each country if you want to. It has provisions about consent, risk assessment, integrity and privacy, and also here about vulnerable groups. We have the EU Directive of Good Clinical Practice. You've heard about that. I'll say nothing about that. The EU Data Protection Directive about privacy consent. And then a very speciality, also European speciality, the EMEA, the European Medicines Agency. And this is interesting because it has the ability to give opinions before the European Commission can grant marketing authorization. And in doing so, they make sure that the ethics is taken into account. And this connection between ethics and marketing, I think, presents a solution which is very good in many ways. Next one will be, they are the blue ones. They are the Ethics Commission, of which you are part. And just to make sure that I've said what it's about, the EGE is an independent, pluralist, and multidisciplinary body which advises the European Commission. Do you know that role? Very interesting role, don't you think so? Yes, I thought so. And the next one, what we said about clinical research in developing countries. It's a long opinion, and I've tried to somehow put it into one slide with a number of keys. So I have a chance to remember. I was afraid that I was supposed to talk without having my papers. Protection of participants. The risk should be taken into account, of course. The consent, free. Both in the host country and the sponsor country. Treatment for the ones who go into the research, both if they are not able to get the treatment in their home country and after the research has ended. And then insurance should be secured. Pluralism in the way that the local traditions should be taken into account, and the standards of both host and sponsor countries, just like we heard in the UNESCO declaration, we say this is a very important thing to do, so that we make sure that you cannot move to other countries because it includes less protection, but you'll have to take both countries into account. If you don't have an ethics committee in the relevant country, we try to say that then you can have a mixed committee of people from the host country and the sponsor country. Partnership, take the host country into account, make real partnerships with them, include local scientists from the very beginning to the very end, secure capacity building so that you make sure that this is being taken care of, make sure it has an impact for society, and make sure that there are shared benefits. When you make publications, include the local scientists. When you make patents, include the locals, etc. Last one is really crucial in a way. Protocols and publishing. There should be registration and information on what has happened, including negative results, which is very important. And then we have a long discussion about placebo. I can go into that if you want in the questions, but I'll not do it right here. And we opened it up to a certain extent. And about relevance, it was said that it should be of relevance for the country. Today, this is from 2003. Today, I must say, I don't think this is realistic these days in the very narrow sense we said, but we can come back to that in the questions maybe. Then Linda's considerations from hearing you. This has been a real working document. I amended it last night after hearing the discussions so that I could make sure to fit into what you were talking about. And I was wondering, now these are the C's you can see. And I was wondering, we've talked a lot about not only having the restraint, but also explain what's the good thing about it. And to make that open up front would benefit the ones who are doing it, but would also benefit the ones on the other side of the table, because they can ask, well, what's in it for me? And not for me just only as a person, but for me as a local something, a society, a country, whatever. And I think that somehow, if I try to think about the whole area of business ethics, CSR, corporate governance, corporate social responsibility, in that respect, you said for a long time, don't say yes to child labor. And we all said, don't say yes to child labor. But then they found out it was much more fruitful to say yes to child labor, but make sure that there were schools and there were things for the kids to do, not too many hours, etc., etc. So, I mean, the way of doing things, instead of just having one thing, then widening it up, what can we do for the local society? So both better, cheaper drugs and local benefits of other kinds could be included, but saying in plain language, what's in it for you? Counteract, what don't we want? What want we to ban? We want to ban unproportionate risks and unscientific conduct. Which conditions should we make sure are taken into account? Consent with clarity and committee approval. Cautious regulation, I would recommend. Protection and protocols and insurance should be part of that. Compliance should be taken into account, including inspectors. We've seen that in the EU combination. We have inspectors being sent out. The EMEA does that. Send out inspections. How's this going? So that we make sure that compliance is taken care of. And then, last but not least, a culture of collaboration, capacity building, both in science for the local community in developing countries, but also for ethics for all of us. We heard that yesterday. If we're in the university or a business or a special business doing these things especially, they should be in ethics and be educated in ethics. So ethics is not only for the developing countries, for all implied in this. And my last one will be the processes. This was on content somehow. And if we go to the processes, I totally agree with Francis. Transparency is very, very important. Not the only one, but one of the important things. Top-down and bottom-up. Sometimes we think we should either have a top-down approach, making regulations which are hard, etc., or bottom-up. I think we need both. We need regulation from the top, very, very little regulation, but then tough and making sure that it's being complied with. So top-down and bottom-up. Yes, 2 seconds, I'll be there. I heard yesterday a lot about bureaucracy, and I hear that in my home country, in the EU, and there is a lot of bureaucracy. So going through all the detailed regulations and guidelines, etc., see, could we make them easy, understandable, and could we make less of them? That would be a good thing to do. Comply or explain. In the corporate social responsibility and business ethics, we've seen that instead of saying, do this, then we say, you shall do this unless you can explain to us why you don't think that's good for this specific opportunity. Because as we've heard, the context, the complexity makes it different to make very hard things. So comply, explain might be a process that we could introduce into this area. Dialogue on principles, that's what we're having today. Framework regulation, securing the very specific content in very few paragraphs, and then some processes to be taken care of. And then harmonization, not unity. We should try to harmonize so that we all agree about basic principles, and then we can have a variety for doing things in different ways in different countries and settings. I was wondering that could I do it like we have with research animals? They have replace, reduce, refine. Maybe we could for persons have respect, responsibility, and responsiveness. Thank you.